And what we need to do instead is recognize that this is a normal transition, a normal, transition in our society as a whole. And if we can open our minds to it a little bit and look for the opportunities, then we can better equip ourselves to come out the other side stronger. It may not take away the immediate pain that we're facing, but it's within those challenges that create the character of the person that will be coming out the other side.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Flow Over Fear podcast, where it is our mission to help you to rise above fear and realize your ultimate potential in leadership and life. I'm your host, Adam Hill, and it is my goal to share with you the human side of high performance. My guests share their experience with fear, anxiety, struggle, challenge, and most importantly, despite all of it, how they rose above it to achieve incredible results. So, if you're ready to rise up, let's get started.
The general consensus seems to be amongst experts that we are headed into an economic downturn. It may be a recession, it may be significant, depending on who you listen to, or it may be mild, depending on who you listen to. But the reality is that we're in a period of significant uncertainty with regard to the economy. And that uncertainty can lead to a lot of fear. It can lead to a lot of anxiety within people. Individually, we can feel that because during these times, this is when that unemployment rate might tend to go up from the historic lows that we've had. Interest rates are rising. It could be that, our jobs may be at risk, our businesses may be at risk. And a lot of times it's due to forces that are outside of our control. We individually have very, very little that we could do to control the global economic drivers or things that are moving the economy in a certain direction. There's very little individually we could do to control that. And when we don't have control and we have a lot of uncertainty, that's where fear and anxiety live. And historically, we've seen this time and time again where we've faced these downturns. And many people seem to feel that there's a sense of permanence to it, that there's a sense that there's no way out of it. And we see, people harming themselves more or giving up on life. It happened during the Great Depression. It happened in many, many recessions since. And as individuals, we feel that pain dramatically when it affects us directly. As a society, though, it's important to remember that these economic downturns are temporary. That as bad as it seems and as bad as they're made out to be when we watch the news, and yes, they can be very bad, there is an end. And there is another growth period right beyond it. How long is it going to last? We don't know. But the truth is, and the reality is, throughout our history of the world, in capitalistic countries, the ups and downs happen. You cannot experience the up without the down. And this is one of those periods. This is one of those periods where it's going to reset. It's going to cause a lot of fear, and it's going to cause a lot of fear individually in us. But one of the things we can control is the perspective we bring to it. The best entrepreneurs in the world have looked at these periods of time where we faced recession or downturn, and they've looked at them not as catastrophes, but as opportunities. And they've taken those opportunities and they've built great companies. They've built great things in the world to provide great value. And this is one of the times to do that. So that's the first question I would ask you is, what perspective are you bringing to this upcoming uncertainty? Is it a perspective of fixed mindset or closed mindset where you're looking at it as a period of scarcity? Or are you looking at it with an open mind as a period of opportunity? I remember the last big recession that we had was 2008. And for me, it was one of those times where I was affected pretty significantly by it. I was working in a construction line of products. I just started this job in, say, maybe October, or November of 2007. And if you remember, the recession really started in about December of that year and went way deep into 2008, and then never really rebounded until the early 2010s. I started this job, and for 2 months it was the best sales job in the world because I could do no wrong. The construction market was booming. Everybody wanted to put decks on their property, and that's what I sold. I sold decking products. And everybody wanted to do that. Everybody wanted to put that down. So sales were booming, and it didn't seem like there was an end in sight. And then, of course, the financial crisis happened. Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns and all of those companies just started collapsing. And the mortgage industry just collapsed in on itself. And that started the housing crisis. And of course, the housing crisis led to all of that construction drying up. My business went completely south. I lost a significant source of my income because at that time it was based on that baseline of where I started. And so I was not doing well from a financial standpoint. And my mindset was shattered. My perspective was shattered because I looked at this as something that could not turn around and that I couldn't get out of. And it sent me deeper into the alcoholism that I was already in. It sent me deeper into despair, and it created this depression in me and the sadness and this resentment that I just wasn't able to get past. And, of course, that drinking led down dark paths and everything like that and continued to absorb me. But my perspective was shot. And what happened during that time is because I was focused on all that negativity and where I was and that I wasn't making the money that I needed, I failed to see where opportunities might be presenting themselves. I failed to look more broadly at what was shifting and what was being created and the opportunities that were arising. And it really wasn't until well after I got sober and worked on the healing process that we were already in the midst of that next growth cycle. And that's when I started to really reshape and transform my, not just my physical health, but everything else associated with that, my mental health, my financial health, and my career-oriented growth and everything like that. So it took some time to recover from that. And that's what a lot of people face during these periods of time, especially those of us with a significant amount of, or intensified fear, intensified anxiety. We feel the anxiety of uncertainty. We feel that our world is changing in a dramatic way and often a painful way, maybe often a traumatic way. And because we're trapped in that mindset, we don't see a way out. And what we need to do instead is recognize that this is a normal transition, a normal, transition in our society as a whole. And if we can open our minds to it a little bit and look for the opportunities, then we can better equip ourselves to come out the other side stronger. It may not take away the immediate pain that we're facing. And yes, that's challenging and difficult. But it's within those challenges that create the character of the person that will be coming out the other side. For me, even amidst all of the pain and challenge that I was going through at that time and resentment and everything, I learned how to sell during one of the most difficult times to sell a product ever. That was a challenge that I was able to push through and overcome and ultimately learn a lot that I took into my world beyond that recession and into my world today, so that I know that the next time I can survive it and take it on. So looking back on that as a way to look at the opportunities on how we can grow, that was a very, very powerful force for me to, continue moving forward. And what I learned from that process, what I learned throughout the last decade since that last downturn, is that when we get into this recession, there's really three things that we can focus on that we can control, that can help us to come out the other side stronger. And none of them really have to do with hoarding our finances or thinking of a mind of scarcity or doing all of these things. What they involve is how we can better internally focus our attention to improving ourselves and how we can add value to the world. And the first thing we can do is we can focus on our physical health. Because if you're not focused on your physical health, then chances are when things from the outside or outside forces or things outside of our control hit us, hit our stuff, hit who we are, we start to lean into those bad and unhealthy habits. For me, it was alcohol. For somebody else, it might be overeating. For somebody else, it might be undereating and not eating enough and getting into an eating disorder. But knowing that and focusing on your physical health and your physical well-being and transforming your physical well-being is a first step to giving you the energy and the courage and the confidence to take this challenge on and find yourself at the end of it better and better equipped to take it as an opportunity. So focus on your physical health. Get into a routine of achieving something that's in your physical nature, whether it be running, whether it be triathlon, whether it be competitive weightlifting or CrossFit, dare I say, yikes. But those are the things you want to focus on, is those things in your physical health. Why? Because poor physical health can aggravate, can magnify the pain that you're going through during that time. And while it feels like it helps and it's comfortable in the minute to lean into those bad habits, they ultimately hurt you more. Focusing on your physical health can help build you up to something new. It won't take away the pain of the financial uncertainty or the financial challenges you're experiencing now, but it will lift you up. And then the second thing to focus on during these times of economic downturn, when the fear of recession is looming, is our mental health. Our mental health, to a large degree, is within our control, because while we continue to be hit by these outside forces that are affecting us, we can either let it shape our perspective in a negative way, or we can shape our own perspective in a positive way. And this is where priming yourself, where having a solid morning method that includes those three elements that are important, right? The presence, the energy, and the empowerment. Those three elements in the morning method. Remember your morning P? That's what you want to do in the morning to really prime your mindset and to focus on your mental health. That can be meditation. It could be the aforementioned exercise. It could be yoga. It could be breathing exercises. It could be reading empowered books. It could be focusing on your education. But those things help our mental health. And really training ourselves in that time, putting on the armor of courage and the armor of the mental health that we need. That's what's going to help get us through that without, collapsing in on ourselves into depression, into greater anxiety. It's what'll help us to experience more flow and see the opportunities that we have out there. So my advice when trying to improve your mental health is, first, don't be a victim. It is well within your choice to decide if you are going to be a victim or not. Yes, you can be subject to being laid off. Yes, you could be subject to losing money in the stock market. Yes, you can lose money in real estate. You could do all of that. That could all happen to you, and it could affect your finances. It could affect your livelihood, but it doesn't have to make you a victim. And the only person that defines if you're a victim is you. So that's the first part. Then you can shift your mindset in the morning, do that morning method to really empower your mindset, to give yourself the presence and to give yourself the energy. This is the time during these challenging times to really, really look at your core values. Look at what you truly value, because this is going to set a new baseline. This is going to be a reset in some regards. And when you're at that reset, you can really define what your core values are, what you want to lean into, and you can grow in that way. And I guarantee that when you grow, when you focus on your mental health and you grow into your values, you are setting yourself up for a more fulfilling life. And then you could look back on this experience of economic downturn or recession, and then realize that this was a blessing in disguise. So that's the choice of, are you going to be a victim or are you going to be a hero of your own story? And then the final piece is important. This is where, you can start to come out of the other side stronger. It's adding value. Now, there are a lot of people that are going to be struggling during this time. A lot of people that will be facing significant challenges, including yourself. And if you're able to not just focus on your physical health and your mental health, but adding value to others, you are going to be setting an example for how we bring the world out of this recession, how the next shift into our next value added is coming from. And when you do that, you are building a network of people. You're showing people that you have the courage to persist through this. You are showing other people when you're saying, hey, I want to help you, or I want to add value for you, or I want to add value to this. You're demonstrating that you have that mindset of courage, that you have that grit to persevere throughout this. And if they're struggling and then they make it on, and those people make it on the other side, they can remember you and also help you to create value. But if you're creating value, if you are focused on creating value in the world, then you're not only lifting others up, but you're bringing yourself up to a new level during a challenging time, and you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, which is where growth occurs, and you'll start to grow. You will start to learn through focusing on, where can I add value? By asking that question, where can I add value? You are focused on building something that you might not yet know exists. You might be building a new business. You might be building a new brand. You might be helping somebody who is your next opportunity. But the key is that when you add value, that's where opportunities are created. So focus on adding value during this time. Don't let the fear of a looming recession or economic downturn shake your courage or shake your focus. Lean into physical health, lean into mental health, and lead into adding value. And with those three things, you will be creating opportunities for yourself, and you'll be positioning yourself to be stronger, to be better when the opportunities arise to help you grow. Thanks for joining me today. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Flow Over Fear podcast. If you'd like to learn more about getting into flow and learn the foundations of flow, I have a free video series on my website at www.adamcliffordhill.com called The Foundations of Flow. Feel free to go there and download it and start your journey to rising above fear and achieving greater flow in your life. And if you like this episode, and I'm guessing you did if you stuck around for this long, then please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, and you will receive notifications when I have new interviews, new recaps, and new trainings that pop up on YouTube. Thanks again for joining us.